Hello everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. Today we are focusing on the new release from Trinity Stamps, and this is a video hop. So excited. So let's talk about what we're using today. This is the brand new He Is Risen stamp along with the matching die. And not only is there a matching die for the big word He Is Risen, there's also a foiling plate for He Is Risen. So you have options. We're also going to be using the At the Cross die. I'm kind of in love with that. Now these products aren't brand new. This is our Good Morning Sunshine stencil. There are two stencils to that one. It's a big one. And we also have our Puffy Clouds layers. And so this is another big one, 6x9. And then we're going to bring in our Pearly Gates embellishments. Kind of perfect for this card, right? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a piece of cardstock that measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So it's a little bit smaller than the front of an A7 card. Yeah, we're going to be making a 5x7. I just had to. And so I pulled out some of my favorite Distress ink colors. I've got my blending buddies to go along with this. And we're going to go ahead and start with this light yellow at the bottom. This is some squeezed lemonade, and all I'm doing is using that stencil on the very bottom and then kind of taking that color and covering up most of that white so it's just yellow. Then we're going to kind of shift that stencil, and we are going to do the same thing, just moving it around. And I'm going to clean off the stencil in between when I switch colors. So that next color we're going to use is an orange. It's a dried marigold. And so we'll do the same thing here. And the tip I would give you is when you're blending, start on the stencil and work up to the paper. So that will help keep those blotches down, like just rounded color. Try starting out on your stencil first and be light-handed. You can always go darker. Okay, so once again, we'll clean that off, and then we're going to move on to the color Spun Sugar. And then we're going to keep going with the colors Kitsch Flamingo and Picked Raspberry. Now, I said this was a part of a video hop because we are celebrating the brand new release for Trinity Stamps. This is their February release. There is a bunch of information down below in my description box. So you're going to want to hit that little down arrow. That's going to open up the description box. And then you can check out all the details for this hop because you're going to want to hop around because imagine that, there are prizes. And there's also the Instagram hop. So I will have a link down below to my Instagram. You can head there and you can hop around there as well. There's lots to see, lots of really great new products that are being released. I don't think you're going to want to miss any of it. All right, so now that I've finished up with my background, well, it's not actually finished. Once I've finished blending all that color on there, we're going to bring in the Good Morning Sunshine stencil. And I'm going to kind of try to just put that right in the middle of the A7. And it's not going to be a big deal that it isn't going to match up on the bottom because you're really not going to be able to tell, simply because I'm using some white ink. Now, this is that Shark Tooth by Ink on 3, and I am just taking my blending buddy, my white one, and just going through the stencil lightly. I'm going to pull that away, and you're not really going to see it that well. It's there. Trust me, it's there. I can see it for sure, and I'm going to line it up kind of on the bottom, and we're going to do the same process down below. Now, I said there are 2 stencils to this one. So once we're done ink blending that shark tooth through the first one, we'll bring in the second one, and we'll line that up the best we can over the top of what we just did. And once again, bringing in that shark tooth. Like I said, it's going to be really subtle, and that's kind of the look I was going for. I didn't want it to be like in your face a whole lot. So I'm going to bring that up to the camera. Hopefully you can kind of see it, but because the shark tooth is a pigment ink, it'll sit right on top of those colors, kind of absorb some of those Distress ink colors, but when you move that card around, you can see that the beams are there. The next thing I wanted to do was bring in this sheer shimmer spritz. This is the color Frost, and all it's going to do is add shimmer to it. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see that on camera. I am even going to bring in my flashlight from my phone to see if you can see it on there once I put the light on. I promise you it's there. It is absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I love all the sparkle. So we'll set that off to the side to dry. And then next we're going to bring in that really beautiful At the Cross die. I've already die cut out the cross using some craft cardstock, and then using some purple cardstock, 2 different colors, I cut out the cloth. I'm bringing in this tiny little blender. These are the newer ones. from Tim Holtz, and I'm just blending on that color. You could have used your blending buddies as well, but I wanted to see how these would work on there, and they work great. I used Wilted Violet as my color that I used on the lighter purple, and then we're using Villainous Potion on the darker purple. And now we can put those pieces together. It's really pretty simple to do. Just follow the packaging. Well, after I do some brushed corduroy on our cross. You could completely skip these, but I really like adding a little bit of blending just to give it some more dimension. So I'm using some liquid glue, just putting a little bit at the top of our cloth and part of my head. I wanted to make sure I was getting that centered on there, but you're going to put that on the front of your cross, and then these little pieces are the back of the cloth. So I will use this lighter purple, and that's going to go on the front of each of those. And like I said, use the packaging if you're not sure exactly which of those skinny pieces goes on which of those pieces of cloth. I don't think you could screw it up too bad, honestly, but if you really just want it to be perfect, follow the picture on the packaging. And so now I am going to glue these to the back of the cross. I love how that drapes over it. It just gives such a 3D look. It's so beautiful. And then we'll do that last one. Again, love it so much. And then the next thing I'm going to do is stamp out my sentiment. So I'm going to stamp the He Is Risen. And I'm going to use some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink to stamp that onto this white cardstock. And you'll notice I have the die out because we're going to die cut it out. What I do really love about this die is that it cuts out each word separately so that you can arrange the sentiment the way that you want to. So I'm going to die cut that out, and you'll see how I've kind of put those on there. They're obviously not attached yet. And then we have a card base that is A7, so that measured 10 inches by 7 inches and scored at 5 inches, so we have a 5x7 card. I'm going to glue down our panel to the front of our card base, giving that nice little white border all the way around it. And then I'm going to stamp on the inside. So oftentimes you'll hear the sentiment, He is risen, and then someone might respond with, He is risen indeed. So that's what we're going to stamp on the inside, is He is risen indeed. And so we'll start with He is risen. And then indeed is going to go basically right underneath it. And I do like that it's different fonts for these sentiments as well. There's also Happy Easter and Rejoice in this He is Risen stamp set. Bringing in some of our adhesive foam strips, we are going to put those on the back of the cross and the cloth and basically just cover that whole, back of the cross and the cloth. And these have some adhesive cover, so you're just going to pull that off of there, and then you can stick down your cross wherever. I'm going to stick mine right in the center, at least best I can, eyeballing it. You could use a ruler. I'm very lazy, so we're going to eyeball it. And then I'll push that down. And I am not going to use the adhesive foam strips on the back of our words. We're just going to use some liquid glue to adhere those down. I wanted that cross to really be the thing that stands out. I love all the dimension that is given with it, but we're going to attach that down to the front of our card. I wish I had moved this over a little bit more to the right, but it's down now, so it is what it is. I'm probably the only one who's going to notice that. I'm sure a few of you will notice it too, but it's bugging me just a tiny bit. All right, and then Risen will go down at the bottom. I can't stop there though. I'm going to bring in those Pearly Gates embellishments. It just is fitting, not only the name of them, but they just look so beautiful on that background. They don't distract from anything that's going on. I think they really add to it. I'm using my pickup stick along with that liquid glue to adhere everything down, and then that's going to finish off our card for today. I hope you love it as much as I do. If you do, hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And again, head on down to that description box and be sure to check out all the rest of the hoppers. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye, everybody.